What's good, y'all? What's good, Real Talk Squad? This is Miles. You're listening to Real Talk with Miles Johnson, where you know we always keep it real. It's MJ's Monday mailbag. Sorry, yo, I'm a little bit late, little bit jet lag still from Egypt. I got back home. I had my notes together. I had some of y'all questions, and I was like, all right, bet. It's time to record. I took a little bit of a nap, woke up. It was 11 o'clock. So bear with me, y'all, but we back at it. Let's get right into it. And I've been seeing on Twitter, and y'all been asking me this question. Why do they keep disrespecting Jalen Hurts? And they disrespect him. They disrespect the Eagles. They disrespect Nick Sirianni and A.J. Brown and the whole city of Philadelphia because they want to be us, but they're not us. That's the fact. But stuff like debating on Jalen Hurts being top 10, let me say this real quick. If you are debating with somebody on whether or not Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback, that person is slow. That person has issues. They're either a Cowboys fan, they either don't know ball, or their girl likes Jalen Hurts. Because I'm done arguing with people that Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. The debate is where he lands in the top 5. But top 10, what are we talking about? That's not a debate. A Super Bowl MVP that outplayed Patrick Mahomes twice. There's no debate if he's top 10, bro. What are we talking about, dog? And a guy that's going to give you, on average, 35 total touchdowns and less than 10 interceptions on average is clearly a top 10 quarterback. What are we talking about? Like, this stuff gets disrespectful. It gets weird. I can't take some of y'all serious when you say guys like Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Jordan Love, Jared Goff. What are we talking about? At this point, by y'all logic, Phillip Rivers is over Tom Brady because he did not win and he put up great stats. If that's the bar, if that's the standard, then a lot of guys like Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Kirk Cousins are better than Terry Bradshaw, Troy Aikman, Tom Brady. It makes no goddamn sense. What are we talking about? So again, I am not having the debate on whether or not Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. I'm not entertaining that BS. And I have to look at you and be like, clearly you have a vendetta against the Eagles if you seriously think Jalen Hurts is not a top 10 quarterback. Man, y'all get me riled up. So riled up. What are we talking about? All right, let's talk about Cam Newton, though. Because Cam Newton, he's a clown to me. He really is. Him saying Hurts isn't top 10, I mean, like, we know what you're trying to do, and it's sad, but it's just corny. But here's the thing with Cam Newton. When Cam Newton uttered from his mouth, I would rather have a regular season MVP than a Super Bowl MVP. That right there showed the player he was. Because there are a lot of guys that would trade an MVP for a Super Bowl MVP. Because you're not remembered for an MVP, but you're remembered for getting that Super Bowl ring and that Super Bowl MVP. What are we talking about? Matt Ryan, don't you think he would trade his MVP for a Super Bowl MVP for not blowing a 28-3 lead? I'm sorry, y'all. Kids, my grandkids are going to remember Cam Newton for that fumble than for winning MVP. I look back at what Michael Jordan has said about his stats, about championships. And he sounds a lot like Jalen Hurts when he says, all I want to do is win. I could have the all time scoring record. I could have this record and that record and this record. But I want the freaking championships. And that's what I want, bro. I want parades. I want parades. I want to be on Broad Street celebrating the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. You don't be on Broad Street celebrating an MVP. You don't. But you be on Broad Street celebrating what? Getting to the Super Bowl. You go to Broad Street when you win the Super Bowl. It's levels to this stuff. It's flat out levels. And so ultimately, I know why Cam Newton ain't become the player that many thought that he would become. And if you look at his resume and you look at his stats outside 2015, it's extremely underwhelming. Because one could think he achieved his biggest goal was the MVP. It was MVP. And outside of that, he was good. And that's why he fell off a cliff. I'm on that today. Micah Parsons and the Cowboys. Oh my gosh. I love seeing the Cowboys self-implode, but the one thing the Cowboys and their fans can hang their hat on and can hang a championship banner is being the off-season July champions. Because in July, every year, it's routine. They become the off-season champions. Because Jerry Jones says something out of pocket, he undermines one of his players, and they dominate mainstream media. And for their owner, that's his Super Bowl. Because all you Cowboys fans, no matter how much y'all lose, no matter how much that team disappoints you, you still fill up those seats because y'all sorry, because y'all don't know what it feels like to win. And if you are a Cowboys fan under 30 years old, I gotta say one thing. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? It's like you're voluntarily signing up to be a loser. Y'all not winning nothing. What did DeMarcus Lawrence say? Hell, I knew if I was in Dallas, I wasn't going to win nothing. The funniest part is he's in Seattle. He's in Seattle. And he feels that way because he knows I can go anywhere else and I got a better shot winning there than going out here and winning in Dallas. And Micah Parsons, I feel bad for Micah Parsons, bruh, because deep down in his heart of hearts, he wants to be an Eagles fan. He wants to be a part of the Eagles. I'll say it again for y'all. I feel bad for Micah Parsons because deep down in his heart of hearts, he wants to be a Philadelphia Eagle. He wants to play at Lincoln Financial Field. He wants to say go Birds. He wants teammates like Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, a head coach like Nick Sirianni, a defensive coordinator like Vic Fangio. He wants a fan base that's crazy like the freaking Philly fans. That's what he wants, bro. I mean, you see him at Phillies games, at Sixers games. He went to Penn State. He from Harrisburg. Clearly, he wants to be an Eagle, but he's trapped by being a Dallas Cowboy. And I feel for the guy. I mean, when you see him every year during the draft, and he's like, oh my God, how'd the Eagles get him? How'd they get Jalen Carter? How'd they get Saquon Barkley? How'd they get Quinyon Mitchell? Oh my God, how do they do this, bro? We know deep down you want to be an Eagle, dog. So how about you just sit out, request a trade to Philly, and Jerry Jones, he loves to be in headlines. His dumbass might actually do it. He might actually do it, bro. But we know, just like Abdul Carter, Micah Parsons wants to be an Eagle. That's what it is. But the Cowboys are such a laughing stock in the NFL. I mean, their Super Bowl ring is right here, and they are the offseason champions. All right. I'll say one more thing about the Eagles, and we'll get to another NFL topic, and then we'll get to this WNBA topic real quick. The Eagles versus the Ravens would feed families in the Super Bowl. That's what I want. I don't want to beat up the Chiefs again. Been there, done that, bruh. I don't want to beat the Bills again. Been there, done that. Now, the Eagles beat the Ravens before, but I think they would give the most difficult challenge out of any AFC team. Because if Lamar Jackson gets to the Super Bowl, that means he either beat Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and or Joe Burrow, or three or two of those guys. He's going to have to beat multiple of those quarterbacks if he wants to get to the big game. And if he does that, that means something clicks. But I want to tell y'all something, bruh. All you Ravens fans thinking that it's your year and y'all going to win the bowl, you have to go through Jalen Hurts. You have to. And the last time the Ravens faced the Eagles, Lamar Jackson got outplayed by Jalen Hurts. If you take away those garbage time points when the game did not matter, Lamar Jackson got outplayed by Jalen Hurts. And so there's all this talk. There's all this disrespect on, oh, I like this guy over Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not top 10. He's not elite. He's a game manager. He's very pedestrian. All right, then, beat him. Beat him then. Beat him. Because y'all talk so crazy. It's like that friend that's like, yeah, I could have beat him up. No, you couldn't, bro. We were holding you back once you were acting like you was about to do something. You're not about that stuff, bro. You're not about that stuff, bro. So ultimately, a lot of y'all act like you can beat the champ, you can beat the king, but when it comes down to actually beating the champ and beating the king, you don't. You fall short. Because Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, have those guys beat Jalen Hurts in the past 2 years? Hell no. And the only guy that's beat him has been Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl off a game-winning field goal. And what happened? We got our lick back and dropped 40 points on his head. That's what it is, bruh. But again, I would love to see a Ravens-Eagles Super Bowl. It would be highly entertaining. And that would be a great thing to see, bruh. A great thing to see. Let's go into this Bengals topic. And we just mentioned Joe Burrow, and we're gonna have to mention him again. So the Bengals owner, Mike Brown, was explaining the Shamar Stewart situation. Now, for some of y'all that don't know this situation, Shamar Stewart is the Bengals' first round pick. And he hasn't signed his contract because he wants certain guaranteed dollars on his contract. And the Bengals are trying to be cheap and not give him those guaranteed dollars that every first round pick gets. Now, the contract is slotted. The contract is slotted for first round picks. It's just they argue whether stuff is guaranteed or not guaranteed. And again, the Bengals are trying to get over, and they're trying to be cheap by not guaranteeing Shamar Stewart his contract fully guaranteed. They're not trying to do that. So their owner, Mike Brown, was explaining the Shamar Stewart contract language, and he says this: If we get a player who does something unacceptable, guess what? I don't want to pay him. I really don't. If he's sitting in jail, I don't think I have to pay him. I'm sorry. This quote by Mike Brown is Donald Sterling-esque. It is. It is. I am not stuttering. I did not stumble. I'm going to say it again for y'all. This quote by the Bengals owner, Mike Brown, is Donald Sterling-esque. You're telling me you're so cheap that you will make up a scenario where your first round pick goes to jail. Mind you, this guy hasn't gotten in trouble, no legal problems, but you're making up a hypothetical that I don't want to pay the guy because he might go to jail. And I don't want to pay him no bread if he goes to jail. How cheap, how racist can you be? I'm sorry, if I'm Joe Burrow, I'm saying to myself, get me the hell out of here. Because clearly y'all not trying to win and you're taking advantage of my talent. And this got me thinking, damn, Joe Burrow might be the best quarterback of all time. Because he got to deal with this BS. Oh my gosh. Who drafts a first round pick that you don't believe in? Who hires somebody that you're afraid will go to jail? I'm sorry. If I hire somebody to be a part of my team, I'm not thinking in the back of my head, well, damn, I don't really want to, give them their full contract or give them the most money that they could make because they might go to jail. And if they go to jail, then I don't want to pay them no bread if they go to jail. I wouldn't hire that person. It makes no sense. If you don't believe in a guy, whether it's on the field or off the field, why'd you draft him? So now you're being cheap, and to justify being cheap, you're being racist. It's disgusting. It really is. Like, what are we talking about? Yeah, Cincinnati, I'm so glad we got Howard Roseman in this guy. I mean, because imagine not Jerry, imagine Jeffrey Lurie saying to Andrew Makuba, mind you, he's a second round pick anyway, but the same sentiment applies that, hey, what if he goes to jail? I don't want to guarantee some of his contract. The frick? I was about to cuss, Mom. They had me. I was right there, Mom. I was right there, Mom. I was right there. But like, what? That don't make sense. That don't even make sense, bruh. All right. Last thing. I want to talk about this WNBA contract real quick. And here's my issue. Here's my issue. So the WNBA players right now are essentially going through contract disputes with the league, WNBA. And they had shirts that said, pay us what you owe us. Now, everybody on the All-Star team had that shirt in the warm-ups. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Nafisa Collier, Asia Wilson, they all had the shirts. So in the post-game press conference, I believe, KP, Kelsey Plum, who has main character syndrome, said it was a powerful moment. As players, we didn't know that was going to happen. It was a genuine surprise. The t-shirt was determined this morning. Not to tattletale, 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that. I'm sorry, y'all. This is an idiotic statement from Kelsey Plum. You're on, you're literally in ongoing contract negotiations. And the one thing y'all have is leverage, is being on a united front. So, what sense does it make, whether it was a joke or not, to make a sarcastic joke that Team Clark was not available for the meeting prior to the game? What sense does that make? That's like the sanitation workers in Philly saying publicly, like, yeah, the guys on the West Side and West Philly, they weren't present for our union meeting. You're in ongoing contract disputes. The worst thing you could do is show that y'all not on the same page. What are we talking about? And that's why Sabrina was like that. We ain't gotta say that. We ain't gotta say that. She was laughing, but she was dead ass. It makes no sense. Now, I'm not the one that's gonna say they're all hating on Caitlin Clark and all this mess, but stuff like this doesn't help. It doesn't help. And regardless of the whole hating on Caitlin Clark narrative that they're trying to push, this is just stupid. You're trying to gain leverage and you're publicly showing we're not on the same page. What's the goal? What are you doing? So, yeah, y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. It is Real Talk with MJ, where I know I'll always keep it real. It's MJ's Monday mailbag, late on a Monday. And trust and believe, we got some great content in store for y'all this football season. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. We are out.